The Tri-State Tornado, 1925 USA. The Tri-State Tornado is widely considered the deadliest tornado in American history. On March 18, 1925, this monster touched down in Missouri and stayed on the ground for more than 3.5 hours, carving a path through 3 states: Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. Its track was an unbelievable 219 miles long, the longest ever recorded. The storm flattened towns like Murfreesboro, Illinois, where over 230 people were killed in just that community alone. Entire schools collapsed with children inside, and factories were torn apart, trapping workers. When it was all over, more than 695 people had died, with over 2,000 injured. The storm struck before modern warning systems existed, meaning people had almost no time to take cover. Survivors described the tornado as a massive black wall moving at highway speeds, swallowing entire neighborhoods in seconds. The Tri-State Tornado remains a grim reminder of how destructive nature can be when conditions align perfectly for disaster. The Daulatpur-Saturia Tornado, 1989, Bangladesh. On April 26, 1989, Bangladesh was struck by the deadliest tornado in world history. The tornado formed near the towns of Daulatpur and Saturia in the Maniganj district and tore across a densely populated area. Entire villages, made mostly of bamboo and tin structures, were completely flattened. The destruction was staggering. Over 1,300 people were killed, and more than 12,000 were injured. Around 80,000 people were left homeless in a matter of minutes. Families lost everything: homes, belongings, and loved ones. The lack of sturdy infrastructure made the death toll even higher, as very few buildings could withstand winds of that magnitude. The Daulatpur-Saturia tornado stands as a tragic example of how developing nations are especially vulnerable to severe weather. Without advanced warning systems or strong housing, the human cost can be catastrophic. The Joplin tornado, 2011 USA. On May 22, 2011, Joplin, Missouri, was hit by one of the most destructive tornadoes in U.S. history. Rated an EF5, the highest category on the enhanced Fujita scale, the storm packed winds of over 200 miles per hour and stretched nearly a mile wide. In just 38 minutes, Joplin was devastated. 158 people were killed, more than 1,000 were injured, and nearly 7,000 homes and businesses were destroyed. The tornado shredded hospitals, schools, and shopping centers. Cars were tossed like toys, and neighborhoods were reduced to fields of rubble. The cost of the storm was enormous, totaling around $3 billion in damages, making it the costliest tornado in U.S. history. The Joplin tornado also highlighted the importance of community resilience. In the aftermath, thousands of volunteers from across the country helped with recovery, proving that even in tragedy, people can come together to rebuild. The Bhola Cyclone tornado outbreak, 1970, Bangladesh and India. The Bhola Cyclone is often remembered as the deadliest tropical cyclone ever recorded, but it also triggered multiple tornadoes in its aftermath. These tornadoes struck already devastated villages in Bangladesh and eastern India. While precise records are scarce due to the chaos of the disaster, survivors reported tornadoes that leveled homes, uprooted trees, and left additional hundreds dead on top of the 300,000 to 500,000 lives lost in the cyclone itself. This tragedy showed how compounding disasters can devastate regions. Cyclone winds, storm surges, flooding, and tornadoes together created conditions so overwhelming that survival was almost impossible for many communities. The St. Louis tornado, 1896 USA, one of the most destructive tornadoes of the 19th century, hit St. Louis on May 27, 1896. This tornado was estimated to have winds over 200 miles per hour and tore through the heart of the city. Downtown neighborhoods, factories, and churches were destroyed. Bridges across the Mississippi River were twisted and mangled, while homes were flattened across miles of the city. Over 255 people were killed and thousands were left injured. At the time, there were no warning systems, so residents had no idea the storm was coming. The St. Louis tornado highlighted the need for better forecasting and inspired early efforts in storm research, laying the groundwork for today's weather science. The Oklahoma City tornado, 1999 USA. On May 3, 1999, Oklahoma City and surrounding areas were struck by one of the strongest tornadoes ever measured. Scientists recorded winds of 318 miles per hour, the highest wind speed ever documented on Earth. The tornado cut a path of destruction across multiple towns, leveling entire neighborhoods. Over 8,000 homes were destroyed or damaged, 36 people were killed, and nearly 600 were injured. This tornado showed the power of modern warning systems. Though the storm was unbelievably destructive, thousands of lives were saved because meteorologists issued warnings nearly 30 minutes in advance, giving people precious time to take cover. The Medarganj tornado, 1996, Bangladesh. On May 13, 1996, the Jamalpur district of Bangladesh was hit by a catastrophic tornado that wiped out over 30 villages. Houses, schools, and markets were reduced to rubble in minutes. The death toll was staggering. 700 people lost their lives, and more than 30,000 were injured. The sheer number of injuries made recovery especially difficult, as hospitals and clinics were overwhelmed. Survivors described the tornado as sounding like 1,000 trains roaring through the countryside. This tornado reinforced the ongoing vulnerability of Bangladesh, where population density and fragile infrastructure make even smaller storms devastating. The El Reno tornado, 2013 USA. The El Reno tornado, which struck Oklahoma on May 31, 2013, holds the record as the widest tornado ever recorded, stretching an incredible 2.6 miles across. What made this storm even more terrifying was its unpredictable behavior. It shifted directions rapidly, catching even experienced storm chasers off guard. Tragically, 3 well-known storm chasers lost their lives during this tornado, a rare event in the chasing community. Although the tornado killed 8 people and injured dozens more, it could have been far worse had it hit more populated areas. The El Reno tornado became a case study for meteorologists, proving that tornadoes can behave in ways that challenge even the best forecasting tools. The Gainesville tornado, 1936 USA. On April 6, 1936, Gainesville, Georgia, was struck by 2 tornadoes that merged as they tore through the city. The combined storm obliterated the downtown district, destroying factories, homes, and businesses. Over 200 people were killed, and 1,600 were injured. Many of the casualties occurred when textile mills collapsed, trapping workers inside. Fires broke out in the wreckage, adding to the destruction. The Gainesville tornado remains one of the deadliest in U.S. history, and a sobering reminder of how vulnerable urban areas are to large tornadoes. The Woodward tornado, 1947 USA. On April 9, 1947, one of the most destructive tornadoes in the Southern Plains ripped through Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. The worst damage occurred in Woodward, Oklahoma, where nearly 100 city blocks were destroyed. The tornado killed 181 people, injured hundreds more, and left thousands homeless. With little to no warning, families were caught off guard, making the disaster even worse. The Woodward tornado is still remembered as one of the deadliest single tornadoes in U.S. history and pushed for further development of severe weather research and warning systems. From the endless path of the tri-state tornado to the record-breaking width of the El Reno tornado, these storms prove just how destructive and unpredictable tornadoes can be. They strike with little warning, destroy communities in minutes, and leave behind scars that last for generations. While forecasting and technology have improved dramatically, tornadoes are still a force of nature we can't fully control. The best defense is preparation, knowing where to go, having a plan, and respecting the power of the storm. Tornadoes may be rare compared to other weather disasters, but when they strike, they show us why they're called nature's most violent storms.